They say you can't smell radiation. No color, no face, no footsteps in the hall. That's what people said after the trees went quiet, after the playground rusted into a still life, after the town became a word you don't say unless you want the room to go cold. But on April 26, 1986, in Pripyat, people noticed something anyway. Not because they understood it, because your body knows when the world is lying. Some woke with a metallic taste, like coins on the tongue. Some felt a headache sharp as glass. Some stepped onto balconies and watched a blue-white glow clawing at the sky. Pretty, the way lightning is pretty when it hits somebody else's roof. Pripyat was young. Tidy blocks, bright murals, a Ferris wheel that hadn't even opened yet. A city built like a promise. And on its edge, the plant hummed. 4 reactors of concrete and steel, a modern altar where the future was fed with uranium, discipline, and paperwork stamped in red. Just after 1:23 a.m., Reactor 4 tore itself open. Not like a door, like a chest. A surge, a blast, another. The lid shifted, and the heart of the machine met the night air. It wasn't meant to breathe, but it did, and something invisible slipped its leash. The first to arrive weren't scientists or soldiers. They were firefighters in rattling trucks, carrying hoses and certainty. A fire is a fire, they thought. You fight it, you go home. Nobody told them the roof was littered with black chunks of graphite from inside the core, ordinary looking as charcoal, deadly as a curse. Some picked pieces up. Why wouldn't they? Curiosity is human. So is not being warned. Up close, the light wasn't warm. It was hard, electric, wrong, like the sky had been cracked open and the crack refused to close. A few men would later remember how their faces tingled, how their throats felt scraped raw, how their mouths filled with that copper taste as if the body had begun, quietly, to argue with itself. Meanwhile, in offices, voices stayed careful. Phones rang. Papers moved from one hand to another. The human mind loves a neat label. Accident. Fire. Manageable event. Calm words are a kind of spell, especially when you want to believe them. Down in the city, life kept its rhythm. People gathered to watch. They stood on a bridge and pointed. They held babies on their hips. The air carried bright flecks drifting like ash from a faraway campfire. Only this wasn't soot. This was the inside of the reactor, turned into snow. Radiation doesn't roar. It doesn't chase you down the street. It just is, like gravity, like time. It entered lungs and skin the way cold enters a house with a broken window. Patient, complete, and without drama. If danger had a sound, it was the soft, impatient clicking of a Geiger counter. Too late to be a warning, too early to be a comfort. Morning came anyway. Stores opened. Kids played. Men went to work. When the world ends, it still expects you to punch the clock. 36 hours later, the evacuation was announced. Calm, official, almost polite. Pack essentials, they said. You'll be back in a few days. People locked doors, left dishes in sinks, toys on beds, curtains half drawn. The buses carried them away in long lines. A dog ran beside one bus for a few seconds, confused and loyal, trying to keep up. After that, Pripyat became furniture without people, beds without dreams, clocks still moving. Time is rude that way. Papers skated across floors, trees pressed in, Birds nested in classrooms. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was watchful. And the disaster didn't end when the flames died. It continued in half-lives and seasons, in soil and forests that looked green but held secrets, in the bodies of men who did what they had to do and paid in ways a paycheck can't name. It continued as a border you could drive to and stop at, a sign, a checkpoint, a line on a map that felt like a bruise. People talk about ghosts there, voices in stairwells, footsteps where there shouldn't be footsteps. Maybe. Or maybe the real haunting is simpler. A normal life stopped mid-sentence. A breakfast table set for people who never returned. A child's shoe on a nursery floor. Chalk writing still on a board. Chernobyl didn't just break a machine. It cracked the trust we place in walls and air and routine. Sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't what hunts you. It's what drifts, what settles, what you breathe, patient as the dark. And by the time you notice that taste of metal, the story has already begun.